In 1948, despite an earlier promise of sovereignty, the Palestinian territory was divided up by Britain and the UN into two states, one for Jews, Israel, and one for Arabs, Palestine. Arabs saw this for the invasion that it was and launched a war against the occupiers. Israel, however, won this war, pushing well past the borders of the UN plan. During subsequent peace negotiations, a ceasefire line was drawn in green ink called the Green Line. The Green Line was never meant to be a border, but it did split Palestine in two, with this area becoming known as the Zionist state Israel, and this section being controlled by Jordan, who had taken it over in the battle they just fought. The Jordanians named this the West Bank because it was west of the River Jordan. Then came the Six-Day War in 1967, which saw the Zionist forces seize a whole swath of land, including the entire West Bank. This began the Zionist invasion of the West Bank through settlement communities, with the goal of establishing a Zionist presence in the region. Despite the illegality of their occupation, global discussions around the West Bank started to include Zionist occupiers, and this is how the settler movement was born. In spite of international condemnation, the number of settlers grew quickly, and over the decades, the illegal occupation of the West Bank expanded through support by more factions of the Zionist entity. The Zionists began allocating financial resources and granting permits for buildings. The Zionist military and housing ministry began developing plans to cement the occupation of the West Bank. They built roads throughout the entire region to allow easy access between settlements and mainland Israel. This led to more and more building permits given out, and new planned communities began popping up all over the West Bank. In the 80s and 90s, invasion activity surged until these settlements weaved all around the Palestinians. The 90s saw the introduction of the Oslo Accords, which established a Palestinian government and split Palestine's West Bank into three sections. Area A gave Palestinians total control over security and government. It makes up only 18% of the West Bank, yet it is home to the majority of West Bank Palestinians. Area B is designated for Palestinian government control, while Israel retains military control, meaning the Zionist forces are always present. Area B makes up 22% of the West Bank. Area C remains completely under Zionist control with strict military control and makes up 60% of the West Bank. The Zionist entity has even built roads called flyovers, which allows occupiers to easily come and go from settlements to the mainland Israel. They are called flyovers because they bypass Palestinian villages, giving easy access for invaders to travel from one settlement to another, while isolating and restricting the Palestinian people's freedoms. Yaqut Tobias for CRI Radio News.